Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to 13 days of Booktober. I am so excited to be filming this. I loved seeing YouTube videos of people doing like Bookmas and posting every day for a certain amount of days for Bookmas. But if you guys know anything about me, I love October. I love spooky season. I love fall. I love anything to do with spooks. So I thought, how fun would it be to do a 13 days of Booktober? And I post a video every single day for 13 days leading up to Halloween, and you get a video every single day. So welcome to 13 days of Booktober, day one. I am so excited to be filming this, and to kickstart our 13 days of Booktober, I am going to be doing my top 13 favorite thriller/horror books that I would recommend you to read. These are very ranging from like super dark to super scary to maybe not so dark, maybe not so scary. I don't know, but I will let you know what books are very scary or very dark or anything like that as we get to them. But I think for the most part, these are all pretty standard. I wouldn't say that they're either too scary or too dark or anything like that. But these are definitely my top 13 favorite thriller/horror books that I have read. The first book we're going to start off with is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. This book is a trilogy. I do think there's 3 books in the series, and this is actually a YA series. This is like very intro to thriller genre, especially for young adult readers. I genuinely really enjoyed this series a lot. It's kind of like murder mystery kind of vibes. We're following Pip, who decides that she's going to do her senior paper on this case that happened in her hometown because she essentially doesn't really believe who they're saying committed the murder is who did the murder. And we're essentially following her investigating this case. And I think this one was honestly just very entertaining. The writing is engaging. You're hooked from the start. You want to know what's going to happen next. And personally, I had such a great time reading this one. And I would highly recommend for honestly just a fast, quick paced, kind of like whodunit book. If you don't really like YA, give this one a try because yes, it is following like high school kids, but it doesn't really read YA. The story and the case itself are still really interesting enough to like look past the fact that they're just high school kids. But this one was a lot of fun. I highly recommend. The next book I have is The Perfect Child by Lucinda Berry. I think I've mentioned to you guys before that I love a creepy kid. Give me a book with a creepy kid because I love a creepy kid. This book is following Christopher and Hannah. Both of them work at a hospital. I think Christopher is a surgeon and Hannah's like a nurse. But this little 6-year-old girl ends up showing up at the hospital, and Christopher ends up forming a really strong relationship with her. Both Christopher and Hannah decide that they're going to adopt her because they both really wanted a kid, so they decide to adopt this little girl. And the ride you go through with this journey is insane. I will say that if men irritate you, this man will irritate you. Christopher is, he frustrated me, and I'm getting frustrated remembering about how much he frustrated me. So just know that. But this book was so good. The ride, the journey, what we learn as we're reading this book, it's crazy, it's twisty. You will definitely enjoy this if you like a creepy kid. Just trigger warnings because there are some triggers in this. It can get a little dark. But this one was honestly such a ride. I truly love a creepy kid, and this little 6-year-old girl is a creepy kid. The next book I have is Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell. This book is dark, okay? But it is so good. So good. This is twisty. There's so many questions that you have, and the ride you will go through reading this is honestly insane. We're essentially following a mother who 10 years ago, her daughter disappeared. She has no idea what happened to her. And 10 years into the future, the mom ends up meeting this guy who seems really charming. They start having like dates and stuff. She ends up meeting his daughters, and his youngest daughter is the spitting image of her daughter that went missing 10 years ago. The questions of what happened to her daughter, where did she go, start coming up again, and she essentially goes back on this quest to figure out what happened to her daughter. But this story is told in a past-present timeline, and this book got me. It is dark. and will keep you guessing, and it's twisty, it's crazy. If you don't mind a darker kind of thriller, I definitely recommend, because the story was told so well. Lisa Jewell is just such a great author. I absolutely love her and her writing, and this one was just such a crazy twisty read. I'd highly recommend it. Just know that it can get a little dark. The next book we have is one that you guys have probably seen me talk about a few times, but honestly, I will talk about it probably a few more times because it was that good. Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby. This book is just so freaking good. It's just so good. I cannot believe it took me so long to read it, but I'm so glad I did, because I will never stop speaking about this book. We're following two dads whose sons were murdered, and essentially they go on this vengeful quest to figure out what happened to their sons, who killed their sons, and why. And the ride you will go through, the emotions you go through. This book is just so good. The writing is so captivating that it just makes you feel everything that the characters are feeling, like when there's anger or rage, or, you know, like, because you're going to feel all of that. You will feel all of that reading this. I highly recommend. I definitely need to pick up more books by this author, because this book just has me in such a chokehold that I need more. So definitely read this one if you haven't already, because I will not stop recommending this one enough. The next book I have is In My Dreams I Hold a Knife by Ashley Winstead. I'm not sure if I've ever mentioned that I love a dark academia whodunit murder mystery college setting, but that's this. And I love these types of books. And this one is exactly that. This book has like a past present timeline. So the past is the college days with the 6 friends that we're following in this story, and the present timeline is essentially 10 years after graduation. They're all gathering for a college reunion, and this unsolved murder that happened 10 years ago is still lingering. People are still talking about it. It's unsolved. People want to solve it. They want to know what happened 10 years ago. And this book is essentially following that. This one is just so fun. It's twisty. It's so entertaining. I highly recommend. If you like a dark academia college setting vibe, like, that's exactly what you're going to get here. All the events that we're getting in the past lead up to what happened, who died, what leads to the death, and everything like that. And this one is twisty. It's crazy, but I highly recommend it if you haven't already read it, because this one was a lot of fun. The next book I have is The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager. This is probably my favorite Riley Sager book. I kept going back and forth between this one and Home Before Dark, but I do think I really enjoyed this one a little bit more. This one is more perfect for summertime because it does take place at like a summer camp. So I usually recommend this one for summertime reading, but honestly, you could read this whenever and I think it'll still hit, because this book is twisty. It's so much fun. This one is following Emma. When she went to summer camp many years ago, she was bunking with 3 girls who one day just end up going missing. Nobody knows what happened. The camp ends up closing afterwards. Now we're in the present timeline where she is presented an opportunity to go back to the summer camp because they're going to reopen it and they want her to come back as a counselor. Emma essentially decides to do it because she has no idea what happened to her 3 friends that went missing those many years ago back in summer camp. And she sees this as an opportunity to kind of like get some answers. So this story majorly takes place in the summer camp, but we do get a past present timeline, which gives us like snippets of what she's going through currently, but also what happened all those many years ago at the summer camp when she was younger. And this book was just so much fun. I had such a great time with it. I was not able to guess the ending, I will say that, but I think this one was so much fun. It's definitely a ride, but I think it's worth the read, especially if you love a summer camp vibe. I definitely recommend this one. The next book I have is If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. I love this book. I love this book. This is dark academia in a book. I love it. It's college setting. It's Shakespeare. It's gothic vibes. Like, everything about this is so good. So dark academia. I'd highly recommend 100%. It's another murder mystery whodunit, very similar to In My Dreams I Hold a Knife, but this one is very Shakespeare-esque. But again, we're following a past-present timeline where the past timeline is the college campus with a group of friends leading up to the events of the murder. And then the present timeline is following Oliver, who went to prison for the murder. The detective still is looking for answers, and he's officially telling the story of what happened on the college campus all those years ago. This story is so good. I will say that if you don't like Shakespeare, don't let the Shakespeare element deter you, because I don't think you really need to be fully immersed in the Shakespeare world in order to read this, because they do talk a lot about Shakespeare. The students that we are following are all taking the Shakespeare class together, so they do talk about the books a lot and recite verses and stuff like that. Like, they do that a lot. But I have read a lot of Shakespeare just because I took a lot of literature classes in college and in high school and stuff. So I am familiar about a lot of the plays that they talk about, but I don't think that necessarily helped or made the reading experience that much better. I just think it added a fun element because I tend to enjoy Shakespeare. I don't know, but I do think you'll still enjoy this if you're not a fan of Shakespeare, because I know a lot of people who don't really know Shakespeare or his works who read this and still really loved it. So I think about this book all the time and I highly recommend. The next book I have is The September House by Clarissa Orlando. This one is perfect for spooky season because the haunted house in this one is kind of crazy, but it's also so fun and kind of like comedic. This is a ride. This is a ride, and I think you'll have a really good time with it. So this is following a couple who lives in this house, who bought this house. They were so excited because they were shocked at how affordable this house was. And they were like, what's the catch? Why is this beautiful house so inexpensive? Whatever. They find out. Every September, the house goes crazy. They decide, you know what, we're just going to deal with it. We're just going to deal with it. We're going to learn to live in this house. We're following Margaret, and one day Margaret's husband goes missing, and they're trying to figure out what happened to him. And we're following the crazy events that happen in this house with Margaret, who refuses to leave because this is her house and she loves her house. And what happened to her husband. And this book is so crazy. It's such a ride, but it's such a good time. You're going to have such a good time reading this. It is on the spookier side, but don't let that deter you, because I do think that this is more intro to spooky. So if you're looking for a starter book, I do think that this one's a pretty good starter. I don't think it's that scary, but I do recommend this one for a good haunted house one, because this was a fun haunted house. The next book I have is We Used to Live Here by Marcus Clywer. Since reading this book earlier this year, I have not been able to stop thinking about it, so it made the list because I cannot shut up about this book. It was so much fun. Yes, I was left with a million questions afterwards, but the rest of this book was just so captivating, so much fun, so twisty, and I highly recommend it. We're following a couple who buys this house, and one day they get a knock on the door, and this dad with his family show up, and he says that he used to live in the house and he wants to show his family his old house that he grew up in from when he was younger. And reluctantly, they say, sure, you can show them. And lots of things start to happen that prevent the family from being able to leave the house. And lots of crazy things end up happening. And this book gets twisty. It's very creepy. Not super scary, but there are creepy parts that will keep you on your toes. But just in case, maybe don't read it at night. But it can get fun, it can get twisty, it can get creepy, and I honestly had such a great time with this one. It's not very long either, so I do think that you could fly through this one no problem, but definitely recommend for a fun, spooky, twisty thriller. The next book I have is one that ever since I read it, I cannot stop thinking about it. It is like the perfect October read, Slewfoot by Brom. If you have not already read this book, this is your sign, because this book is so good. It's so good. It is very much Salem Witch Trials-esque, but not Salem Witch Trials, but it does take place around the same time. We are in like the 1600s, and the vibes that we get from this are very like, you know, pagan and Puritan, devil, is she a witch? But it's also like women had no rights pretty much to anything, and can she own property? You know, stuff like that. But this book, the twists and the turns, the depictions that we get, like the little creatures that we get in this are so fun. This book also has like a page where it shows you the pictures of who the characters are. And I think that was a lot of fun because now you get to like essentially picture the different characters and what they look like. And I think that just added an element of creepiness because they do look creepy. They are not normal. But this book is so much fun. And if you like that era, that 1600s era, I think you're really going to enjoy this. But I think the back of the book just sums up the book better than I will be able to. It says, the colonists call him Slewfoot, demon, devil. To Abatha, a recently widowed outcast, alone and vulnerable in her pious village, he is the only one she can turn to for help. Together they ignite a battle between pagan and Puritan, one that threatens to destroy the entire village, leaving nothing but ashes and bloodshed in its wake. This book is fun. I highly recommend it, mainly because the vibes of this are perfect for spooky season, but mainly because the book is just so fun. It's so good. It's like got those 1600 witchy era vibes, and it's just a lot of fun. So I'd highly recommend this one if you haven't already read it. The next book I have is Recursion by Blake Crouch. This is my favorite Blake Crouch book by far. I loved this book. I devoured it. It's not very long either. I think it's less than 300 pages, but the story was so good, so interesting. I could not put this down. This is like a sci-fi thriller-esque book. It doesn't get too, like, it's heavy on the science, but not too heavy where if you don't really care for science, you're going to get lost in the story. I definitely think he did a really good job at giving us the story with the science aspect without it being too overbearing. This one's essentially following this weird situation that's happening where people have vivid memories of a life that does not exist. But these people remember having families and children and experiences, like being married to somebody who they are not married to, and this person is actually married to someone else or something like that. And it's such a crazy thing that was happening in this book, and the story that is essentially following what's causing this. And this will take you through a ride, but it is so fun. It is so worth it. I know a lot of people really love dark matter, but that one was not as good as this one in my opinion. If you're going to pick up a Blake Crouch book, I highly recommend this one because I think this one was just done so well. I did not want to put this one down. The story was just so engaging, so captivating. It was a page turner for sure because all I wanted to do was keep reading because I needed answers. And I was only going to get them by finishing this book. So definitely recommend this one. The next book I had to include a Darcy Coates book, of course, is The Haunting of Ashburn House. I love this book. I still think about the creepy scenes in this book. This is one of my favorite haunted house books for sure. This one is following Adrian, who inherits this Ashburn house from, I think it was like a great aunt or something. And she goes to live in this house and very creepy things start happening. Everybody knows the tale of the haunted Ashburn house, and we essentially get to experience the haunted house with her, why it's haunted, how she has to live with this haunted house. And this one definitely gets creepy, it gets spooky, so definitely be aware of that. But this one is a lot of fun. I think the haunted house vibes in this were definitely really great, so definitely recommend for the October spooky season because this one will have you on edge, but it's really good. And the last one we have is When the Wolf Comes Home by Nat Cassidy. This one was a recent read for me, but I had to put this in there because I enjoyed this so much that it's very much become a top one for me. I cannot recommend this one enough. I think this one is perfect for the October spooky season because it gives like fairy tale vibes without it actually being like a fairy tale, but we are following two characters, one of them being a little boy that really feeds into the fairy tale-esque vibes, especially since there's like a wolf in here that gives like big bad wolf energy. But it's not a big bad wolf retelling, so don't worry. But this one is so much fun. We're following Jess, who one night finds this little boy hiding in our front yard, and she notices that there's this man who turns out to be the little boy's father, who looks kind of scary, suspect. She's like, okay, I'm gonna watch over you because I do not want you going with your dad. And the ride that they go through, the journey, the experience is crazy. This book gets twisty. It's very suspenseful because you're on the edge of your seat trying to figure out what's going to happen next. It's not scary though. I wouldn't say this is scary. So if you're looking for an intro to horror, I think this one's a good one. I don't think it's very scary at all. If anything, it's just more suspenseful because you're like, what's going to happen next? This one was just so entertaining, and I found myself I did not want to put it down because this was a page turner. So definitely recommend this one specifically for the fall season because the vibes are there. But those are my top 13 thriller-sized horror book recs. I loved each of these books. They have all stuck with me in some way, and I'd highly recommend them to anyone and everyone because they're that good. So definitely let me know if you have read any of these and what your thoughts were because I would love to know how they compare to mine. But if you have any recommendations for me on thriller books, horror books that you think I should check out, please leave me a comment because I am always looking for new thriller/horror books to read and add to my list. So I do hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm so excited for the 13 days of Booktober. I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and stay tuned for the videos that will be following. We have 12 more days of videos and I'm so excited for all of them. So I hope you guys stick around to watch, but I do hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you tomorrow in the next one. Bye!